back in the days of TSR Dungeons and Dragons, before Wizards of the Coast ever bought the brand, there was always a minority of players that would give you an attitude. They would spoil the game for themselves and for others. And usually they wouldn't have any success. Sometimes they might run into people that would allow them to go too far, but in most cases they would find themselves out of a game. Like, think about it. They tried to push AD&D First Edition as some type of tournament playing game. Because back then you wouldn't expect a bunch of people showing up to the table with an attitude, and you wouldn't get that. You'd get the odd person, but you wouldn't get too many. For all the criticism that I lay at the feet of Wizards of the Coast when it comes to their versions of D&D, here is the worst thing they have done. I don't know where it comes from exactly. Maybe the books. Whatever. They seem to have developed a majority of attitude players, where instead of them being a minority like they were in the days of TSR D&D, in the days of Wizards of the Coast, especially in 2023, the majority of players that a public dungeon master could recruit from, strangers, the majority of them come into these games with attitudes. And you can see it. You can see whole tables of players that might be there for a couple of sessions, but it's probably not going to last too long. In the old school days, players were taught to respect the position of the dungeon master and to accept their authority as absolute. And then the dungeon master had to perform well to keep those players at the table. Be tough, be fair, don't mistreat people. That's it. It's a healthy relationship. It's not it's not about being better. It's not a personal thing. It's just the game. This is how it functions. You need to respect my position. I need to respect your position. And if we do that, we keep going forward together. On the other hand, when it comes to WotC players, the majority I have encountered don't respect the position of the Dungeon Master. They don't respect their absolute authority over the game. And you can see where things break down. The DM is responsible for so many things, and they require that authority to keep the game in order and take care of what they're responsible for doing. But you'll see WotC players, many of them trying to strip that authority away. But what's worse is they still expect the DM to be able to pull off managing the game without that authority. And you can see where things break down all the time in the relationship between WotC players and their DMs. Back in the days of TSR, you could see games that would last forever. Players that would just play the game, good, do what they're supposed to do. Same thing with the DM. A lot of exciting, stressful, fun time. But you see the majority of WotC games breaking down, not lasting long. And this started with 3rd edition, it continued with 4th, and guess what? We're back at it with 5e. Nothing has changed for WotC D&D. A public DM that will run the game for people they don't know, they survive off their reputation, right? If that is harmed, that is not good. It won't draw people to their table. They know that, so they protect it. And they don't want people coming in, to spoil who they are, tear them down as people, disrespect them, and strip away their confidence, and at the same time make them look like fools, which will harm their reputation with other people in the hobby that they may be trying to recruit later. In 2023, you see that public gaming has just about died. You'll notice that 90+% of 5e DMs that try to enter and do something and be successful leave. They fail. And it's usually because people strip them down. Here's what happens. They go into a game, they have someone that starts questioning them. A lot of 5e DMs put up with shit. Now, let alone it's hurting their confidence to be questioned this way, to be, have a player putting them in their place. What also happens? Well, the other players, even if they don't mean to, will start losing confidence in that DM for their decision making. And so other players will start questioning that DM just as much as maybe, an attitude player. And even the attitude player will lose even more respect for that DM as they see the DM putting up with shit. Now, you might talk to these players and say, hey, it's good for a DM to be able to handle these things. But in reality, when you see a DM putting up with crap that, us old school people would say you shouldn't do, what happens? The players, even if they don't mean to, start losing respect for that DM. They stop taking that Dungeon Master serious. And the reputation that comes from, somebody being put down like that, and then people saying, that I'm getting bored of the game or whatever, that's going to harm that dungeon master with other people around that little community of players. And it doesn't matter if it's online or in person. You see this happening all the time. Anyone in the hobby who denies that WotC has caused this harm to the section of the hobby we know as Dungeons and Dragons, well, you're a fool. You're either lying to yourself or you're purposely lying to us. Or you're stupid. I hope you're not stupid. So stop being full of shit and start seeing things as they really are. There is no doubt that you can get a high putting a dungeon master in their place after you've had a dungeon master telling you what to do. You could be bitter about it. Maybe you had a bad experience. And in the process of this short-term run before you get bored of it, you and many others like you will run the majority of DMs out of the hobby. And guess what? As you calm down, there's a problem. There's a whole new generation right behind you learning the same bullshit. What we really need to do is accept the reality that WotC D&D has caused a lot of harm to the hobby in the process of trying to make money. Give the customer what they want. Not what works, not what's good, what they want. And in the process, you fuck up the entire thing, but you make a good buck, right? Alright, for now, take care. You know what you can do? You can hit the like button. You can share the video. Oh, and there's another button you can press. That one that lets you subscribe to my channel for more content. Oh yeah, there's that bell thing. You can press that so you know when I've uploaded a new video right away.